serious challenge.
Yeah, that's a very grim scenario. It's basically you're elaborating on an extinction level event. Now, it seems to me that we're not going to survive this event without outside alien intervention. Are the aliens going to help us in this situation?
Yes, that is their intent. Now, but they are also aware that their sudden interaction with mankind will cause a great deal of fear and panic, like Orson Welles' program of the War of the Worlds did in 1938. So the aliens will reveal themselves in a massive UFO display over our principal cities as the first step. They won't plan, but they will do so. And I predict that this will happen on October 13, 2010, about 4 months' time from now. That's a major step for me to take, because I'm putting my credibility and my book on the line about this. I'm so sure that this is going to happen. It may not happen on October 13th. It may happen November 7th. It will happen this year.
The militarization of space is a real threat to survival, serious threat to survival. That's why the whole world is strongly against it. I mean, ever since there is the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which limits the use of space, it tries to limit the use of space to peaceful purposes. And the last few years, it has been understood around the world that the United States is going to violate it. So there have been efforts at the United Nations, at the UN Disarmament Commission, and elsewhere to try to put some teeth in the Outer Space Treaty, make it put enforcement mechanisms to prevent
3 military missions. We were told by the media that they were just studying bugs and moss on board, but in fact they had 3 military missions, including Star Wars and planning missions. And so again, the weapons corporations have taken over the space program, and they're hiding behind it, using it in order to go out and create these new testing programs for Star Wars, because they don't want the American people to understand the depth of the plans for moving the arms race into the heavens. I call it pyramids to the heavens. The aerospace corporations are the new pharaohs of our age, building these pyramids to the heavens, and we, the taxpayers, will be the slaves. We'll turn over our education. We'll turn over our health care. We'll turn over our children's future and get very little in return, just like the slaves at the time of the pharaohs. You know, we know there are so many plans that are underway now for space technologies that are secret. There's a whole thing called the black budget, where even the Congress of the United States doesn't even know about these secret programs underway. So we're just scratching the surface here with what we understand. But clearly what we understand is frightening, and what we don't know should be even more frightening to us. And in the end, we're told all of this is being done in order to make our lives more secure. But the truth of the matter is, our lives are becoming more insecure because of all these programs and plans. We're making the world more unstable. We're creating more enemies around the world. We're creating new arms races. We're draining the treasury, taking money out of protecting our children's future. All of this is going to make our lives more insecure. Well, just as the corporations have taken control of our government, they've also taken control of the media. The media is now dominated by just literally a handful of multinational corporations. For example, the Chicago Tribune brags that on a given day, 80% of the American people get their information from a Chicago Tribune product, whether it's television, newspaper, internet, radio. And in fact, Secretary of War Donald Rumsfeld was on the board of directors of the Chicago Tribune before Bush appointed him to his current post. So what we have now is these interlocking boards of directorates. The weapons corporations, the pharmaceutical corporations, the banking corporations, the nuclear energy corporations, and the media corporations. It's all the same people. And that's who we're dealing with here in the world today. You know, the United States justifies our war in Afghanistan and then the war in Iraq as a response to the terror. But what we have done is we have become a terrorist nation, just as the terrorists themselves have done. that today our Congress is essentially under the control of the multinational corporations. You know, when former President Eisenhower, a World War II general, left office in January of 1961, in his concluding speech to the American people, he warned us to beware of the power of the military-industrial complex. He said they were gaining undue influence in the halls of the Congress. And I'm afraid General Eisenhower, President Eisenhower's warning to us has come true.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Our Congress has been taken over by the big money and by the weapons industry, who want to use our government to further their product, if you will. And their product is war and death and chaos and control and domination around the world. So what can we do? What can the citizens of this country do in the face of this mass undertaking? Well, I think first of all that we have to recognize that we shouldn't have any illusions any longer about our country. We've got to recognize the reality of our times. Each of us individually, we have to accept the fact that our democracy is now under control of these big corporations, this new world order, if you will. And from there, we have to go and educate ourselves more about what is happening in this world, and to take that to our families, and to our neighbors, and to our schools, and to our communities, and share that with others. Because we do have the media under the control of these corporations, and so we can't expect the media is going to do this job for us. It's our job now to become the media, if you will.